Hold up, run, and they'll be able to hear it.
Not a lot of games have successfully delivered on the feeling of being a ninja, but Mark of the Ninja definitely does. It combines the empowerment of being a ninja with careful planning and stealth. The game also never really gets boring or makes you feel burnt out. Part of that is due to how well it handles its interest curve. The graphs I'm about to show and the term interest curve itself are from The Art of Game Design by Jesse Schell. So an interest curve can apply to almost anything, but just sticking with games for now, it's basically a graph that shows a player's engagement in a game over a period of time. The higher points on the graph are when the player is more actively engaged, or the game has more action going on. Those are the most exciting or memorable moments in the game. The valleys in the graph are to give the player a breather, and ultimately they make the high points more interesting. A lot of games have a problem where their interest curve goes straight up, not giving the player enough time to think and eventually exhausting him, which will probably make him want to stop playing. Instead, the interest curve should have higher and higher peaks until the climax, the largest peak. But all of those peaks are separated by valleys on the graph. These valleys should be points of lower stress and lower difficulty in the game. One of the most difficult parts about creating a good interest curve in a game is making those valleys still be interesting. You don't want the player to get bored, you just want to dial down the action for a minute. Mark of the Ninja has mastered this. The interest curve doesn't just apply to the game as a whole, it applies to every part of the game. It's like a fractal, with stages and encounters being a smaller scale version of the larger interest curve. The interest curve for the whole game would be a pretty broad topic, but individual enemy encounters use it as well. When you're sneaking around and first see an enemy, that's the initial hook on the interest curve for the encounter. It jolts you out of what you were doing and forces you to reconsider your plans to get through the area. Next, you start making a strategy in your head to take the enemy out. This is a low point on the interest curve. The action hasn't really started yet, and you're in no immediate danger. Once you figure out your first move, you start going for a hiding spot. You have to move quickly but not too quickly, and you're hoping the guards don't see or hear you. This is another peak on the interest curve. When you get to your hiding spot, you know you're safe and can take a break for a second, which makes it a valley on the interest curve. But next is the most important part. You wait for just the right moment to come out of hiding and strike. Stealth games are all about making waiting interesting, which is why they're the perfect example of how to make low points on the interest curve engaging. You're not exactly doing anything in the game or being threatened by anything, but the waiting is still tense when you're in hiding. This is when the player's interest is rising on the curve, just before the climax. The climax is when you come out of hiding and go for the kill. Mark of the Ninja does something clever when you kill an enemy. In order to successfully kill someone, you have to do a quick time event right as you attack, and you have very little time to do it. The direction you have to move the control stick when you kill someone is random, which means you have to be highly focused on the screen right as you attack. This exact moment is the climax of the interest curve for the enemy encounters. You have to be focused and ready, and it's the single most intense point of action when taking down a guard. After that, you can hide his body or move on, which is the downward slope at the end of the interest curve. This game is an excellent example of how to make the high points and the low points of an encounter interesting. If you like this video and want to see more, make sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching this episode of Breakdown.
We made it into the complex. This way.